Hey everyone, it's GTO MMA, and in this video I will share my thoughts on the UFC 327 Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. Right off the bat, Jiri will smoke Ulberg with no hesitation, bro. Jiri has made a career out of just running people down with sheer violence, and he's not the most technical fighter, you know. In fact, I would describe him as instinctual instead. He does what he thinks is the best thing to do in that moment, and most of the time it works. That is also why people see him as goofy, because it looks like he just throws whatever and hopes it lands. There's some truth to that, but it's not a full picture. Yuri throws recklessly, not because he hopes to land, but he's so sure and confident that it will hurt his opponent once it does. In addition, his defense is unorthodox and sometimes even non existent. His hands are down and his head barely moves. So, in paper, Carlos Ulberg's style is made to counter Yiri. Ulberg is a counterpuncher who is really comfortable in fighting on the back foot. But what he cannot do is knock Yuri out. Carlos Ulberg is more technically sound in both defense and offense, but it's just it's not that he lacks power, it's just that Yuri has a hell of a chin that you need to have the equivalent of Alex Pereira's power to break. Ulberg is coming out of a KO win against Dominic Reyes, but Reyes really fell off, so we can't compare him to Yuri. I think Carlos Ulberg's game plan in this fight would be to focus on defense and then get a counter, which he will. He will surely get that counter, of course, but I could expect a very early KO from Yuri here. He is used to chasing his opponents. He will have no problems walking Ulberg down. Once he gets to Ulberg, that can create an opportunity to overwhelm him in the same way he did to Rakic and uh, Khalil Roundtree. But if there's a chance that Ulberg wins, that could be when he catches Yuri with a perfect counter. And when I say perfect, I mean perfect. I know that just knocks out Yuri out cold. Or he could just stick to their game plan, defending and picking Yuri apart with jabs and especially low kicks, since Yuri's stance is so wide that he struggles to check them. Carlos Ulbergs is a smart fighter. He will pick his shots and circle around Yuri, and most likely Ulberg will throw much, just enough because he's being cautious. But he might try to pull Yuri in with a well-placed strike, like what he did to Dominic Reyes. And to be honest, Yuri would definitely forfeit that. I'm just not sure if he's going to be knocked out, but Yuri would 100% chase down Ulberg. He's just very good at punishing his opponents for bad entries, which he also creates by just circling and going around. Ulberg will try to stay outside of range, setting out long range shots that I think will just piss off Yuri, and then he will just start running over to Ulberg. But there's something I haven't talked about yet. What I believe Yuri's X factor and why he's so confident in his shots. It's because he throws every one of them with full power. Most fighters will throw light punches just to set up power strikes, but Yuri is like a bulldozer. He doesn't care about setting it up. He looks for a KO in every one of his strikes, and that's where Carlos Ulberg will start to struggle. Will he able to stick to his game plan and not panic once Yuri hits him with the brain-shattering strikes in succession? That's a challenge for Ulberg. It's just that Carlos Ulberg needs to fight a perfect fight. He needs to stay out of range, pick his shots, draw Yuri into a counter. He just needs to do so much. Yuri, on the other hand, just needs to eat a couple of strikes to close the distance and overwhelm Ulberg. Same as what he did against Rakic and Roundtree. But if this fight ever goes the distance, it will also be a hard road for Ulberg to take. Jiri has more 5-round fights in his record. but he doesn't pace himself either. However, he never struggled with his cardio. Now another question arises. Can Ulberg keep up with Yuri's pace? Answer is, I don't think so. While his cardio isn't bad, but he's never fought someone like Yuri, who always goes forward and overwhelms his opponent. It's just that the odds are heavily stacked against Ulberg. It is very difficult to see him winning this fight. So once Yuri wins, uh, he must fight Ankalaev, and he will also beat Ankalaev, by the way. But I don't think Ankalaev will ever accept a fight against Yuri at this moment, at least, because he won't risk a two-fight losing streak. He will take an easier opponent and gain momentum. The worst case scenario is that Ankalaev will fight someone else first, probably Khalil Roundtree. But if the UFC forces Ankalaev to fight Yuri, that would be the best for us because it keeps the division moving at least. Anyways, that's all I have for you today. Share your thoughts down below, like and subscribe if you like the video, and follow me on X at GTO_MMA. Thank you, and see you guys.